back to WWE. They were in Milwaukee. That's in Wisconsin.
Yes.
And of course, they were there for...
That's next to Illinois, which is right down the road from Chicago. See how this works? See, they were only 90 miles. They only got 90 miles in 3 days.
Well, WWE Raw in Milwaukee. Again, a show with at least one big angle and maybe some other things you watched.
Well, now, why do you always set the expectations so low here? Well, maybe some other things you watched. Again, we're not trying to bore the people. Unlike the WWE, we're going to get to the meat of the matter. They got 2 things percolating over here. The rest of it is filler and travelogue. The Usos are back together, and they are opposing the Brons, Reed and Breaker. And what did I say last week? Brian, if you wanted to have tag team matches mean something, it was last week or a week or two ago, whatever. If you want to have tag team matches mean something, the Reed and Breaker are perfect heels to start, and they've got to face some guys that have been featured as at some level of the main events to make them interesting. And now they got the Usos history, and they see that maybe, poor old Jimmy may be malingering a bit, so let's give him a little bump. But at the same time, we can put them back together short term. I'm sure they've still got individual plans, at least for Jay, whatever. But this helps the tag team situation. It doesn't help them be fucking matches between the Midnight Express to Fantastics. We're not going to get that, but it's at least putting some focus on tag team matches involving guys that are seen as main event level. That's what I'm trying to say. And it happened last week on Raw. They had attacked Jay, and Jimmy had saved. So now they're both coming out together in Milwaukee, as I said, down the road from Chicago. So you've got the knowledgeable fans. They're predisposed to like the Punk deal later on. But this is another big crowd, however the fuck many the building holds. And that's double the yeets. So they just, again, it's endless. They play the music, they yeet, they scream. And then as soon as the baby faces say 20 seconds worth of shit, here comes the fucking heels. And Bron Breakker started cutting the promo. And he fumfered something about it, tried to express how mad he was what they did to Heyman, but it works for him. And he has intensity. And he needs that. That's why I don't know why okay, Heyman was put in the hospital by a front face lock. God damn, I believe my Aunt Lola could have come back from a front face lock in a fucking week or whatever. But bless him, poor thing. Bless his little heart. As we say down south, he can't take a bump. He might pop and the splatter would kill somebody. But Bron and Bronson need the manager. Bron Breakker right now needs to speak because he can and very well, but he needs to speak in explosive bursts that get his personality over and just go off and do his thing and be natural, but he doesn't need to give any details. He doesn't need to tell any long-winded stories. And you see what I'm saying, Brian? He needs to just be himself. And Bronson Reed right now needs to speak as little as possible because his voice in no way matches his intimidating look. And the less that he opens his mouth till he really gets over, the better off he probably is. So I really wish that they had Heyman for this build. Did he actually injure himself falling down from a front face lock, or did they just agree to give him some time off to go have some type of medical treatments?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Maybe they've got him on something. They've sent him to Duke. He's got the Yokozuna suite. Anyhow, the idea of this match and probably the execution of this match will be better than this promo was, but Jay and Jimmy have a cute little brother promo style where they call and answer each other, but they're relying on personality. They're not relying on substance because they can't really tell a fucking story either. It's personality and it's charisma. They've got that point across. But finally, LA Knight jumped on both of the Brons and had a fight, and the Usos finally helped him. But it wasn't a particularly earth scorching fight, and it was a little too choreographed because they had to make sure that LA Knight almost accidentally fucking hit Jay again, but then he moved and the heel hit Jay anyway. And so Jay was unhappy with LA Knight. There was a lot of choreography there. And it wasn't a real just blistering fight nor a smooth execution. Do you see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, and obviously they were setting up that little thing with LA Knight and Jey Uso. Do you think there's a problem with the fact that the baby faces outnumbered the heels?
Well, I mean, if that was the only time it happened, it wouldn't be horrible. It's just that they're trying to complicate this issue. They're trying to promote the Usos versus Reed and Breaker while at the same time the issues going on with LA Knight and Jay. So there has to be some crossover back and forth, but it does muddy the waters a little bit. Now, is LA Knight going to end up turning heel? Because it obviously ain't going to be Jey Uso. Or is this just going to be a red herring if LA Knight's turning heel and maybe that means he gets a more favorable push? Then I'm not necessarily against that. But if they're all just going to stay where they are, I think it's muddying the build a little bit of the tag match. Do you feel me, bro?
It seems like WWE's been doing that a lot lately, though, muddying the build to things. Like something else happens on the way to the thing that you thought was about to happen.
Well, sometimes that can be a pleasant diversion, like when you find a envelope of money laying in the street. Well, I didn't expect that to happen, but it's nice it did. But other times oh golly, I was rolled by a drunk in a gutter at knife point. Really didn't want that to happen.